Hey, me again. Aunt T, Pathfinder, Teresa, Jocelyn, etc., etc. There's some things that people call me that should only be said without children around. Anyway, it's the same night as the last dream, or last video, but I wanted to do it while this was fresh in my head. There's these there are dreams in the beginning that I from the book that I've titled 1, 2, 3. And this one's 4. The original 2 dreams I wrote down, videoed, those are recent dreams. Nothing, no numbers added to them except for their date. These I'll try to do by date too, but I've got them by habit. There's dream 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, blah blah blah, and it does me good to go back over these old dreams. Like this one, when I think of as number 4, is from 1977. I mean, that was 4 years out of high school for me. And I was drifting from job to job, and I was screwing it up bad. My brain just wouldn't let my body move fast enough. And my memory wouldn't retain things well enough for almost every job that I tried. I mean, I did try. People think I just slacked off, but my body effed with me, from the beginning. I'm not saying the nastiness that happened to me when I was a kid, because it happened to a whole lot of us back then, and we became fighters and protectors of children. So I'm not slamming what happened, but it affected us. Affected us all in different ways. And I am so proud of those that stood tall and have an amazing lives now, I think. Grandparents, and great-grandparents, some of them, and that's good, as you see these generations, that's awesome. Well, anyway, back to this crazy dreams. 77, I was, damn, it's so hard for me to remember. I just, see, my brain does not retain, unless it's written down. I don't even remember when I went into the Air Force to try. I tried basic training. Got through 2 weeks before the shrinks decided that I needed to leave. Even back then, they knew. But anyway, so anyway, this dream, it's interesting because I saw 2 different women doing 2 different things. It's like it started out with one woman. She climbed out of the ocean, after a plane crash. She just was climbing to shore. Then that vision was gone, and I was this young girl, about 15, in this building that was shaped of stone. And I was in this long hallway with the wind blowing in from the ocean side, and the other side at this point in time was land. But on the other side, the ocean beat against the wall, and that sound and the spray and the winds, they just, if you stood there, it was like a meditation, just absorbing and releasing, and that's what this girl was doing. And then, flash, that changed. And I was in, being both observer and participant in this dream. I was still the young girl. But now I was in this living chamber. It was fairly simple, shaped of the same stone that shaped everything else in this city. And there was no curtain or doorway, or door, I should say, between the door, the living space's door, and out into this main, one of the main corridors of the city. And there too, here was the ocean on one side, but on the other side was a bay. It was a beautiful, mellow curve, that, horseshoe that was partially blocked by the city reaching out into it and building, as well as anchored on the land. And this girl, I forgot to say that this was a hot land. And this girl was dressed in what looked like Grecian garments of the ancient days, light, almost linen stuff, but it was a felt type material. Instead of weaving, it was crushed together. That's what she was wearing. Light colored clothes, light, for the breeze. She needed the breeze because it was hot. And, anyway, the girl was sitting in this living space and looking out the corridor. And there she saw her sister coming home from somewhere. I can't remember the sister's name. I can't even remember the girl's name. And I didn't have it in the dream. Didn't need it. But what drew the girl's attention was not her sister, but a young man about 20 years old, him and another man the same age, coming from the same direction down the corridor from with her sister, but in their own world. And jumping up, she ran up and put herself between them, blocking his way. And he looked down at her. And she goes, now let me get the quote, because it's written in this dream journal. She goes, what do I need to do before you can love me? And he looked down at her. She must have looked pathetic, because he just, his heart melted, but, she was a baby compared to him. And he said, if only you were older. Then he caressed her cheek, and they moved on. And she stood there for a moment. She thought about it. If only she was older. Well, let me make sure that I don't miss anything else. But anyway, she was heartbroken. If only she was older. She was 15 years old. And here he was, 20. And she just, he was the love of her life, but there was no way that he was going to allow himself to even the appearance of child molestation. I mean, that's what she was, a child in the eyes of the law. And she was heartbroken. But, there was truth in what he said. So she went back to the living chamber where her sister was waiting and asked what happened. And the sister asked what happened. And she was told, and that's when the scene changed again. And the woman that I was back to the woman who had climbed out of the sea after a plane crash. Well, she was elsewhere, but no, she wasn't. There was the same space, but there was no plane there. It was long gone. No longer needed or whatever, but she was standing on a reef, a coral reef, ancient, living below the water, and what poked up, had to deal with the tide coming in and out. But right now the tide was out, and she was standing on this it was almost like a, oh God, words are screwing with me. But where you tie boats up to. A dock. There we go. Man-made dock. But it wasn't. It was a ancient coral reef that stretched way out into the water and into the ocean. And right now it was uncovered most of the way because of the tide. And standing where she was, she noticed that she could walk on this easy. Her feet seemed to, bare, they clung to this knobbly ancient, once living stone. And she was drawn outward towards the ocean, where she knew that there was something she needed. And as she started out there, and as she was walking, she heard shouts from the shoreline. And looking back, she said, "Now let me get the quotes again." I love it when I have quotes, because I rarely remember exactly what people say in dreams. Okay, shouts were, they tried to turn her around, but she knew she had to do it. She said that the sea was part of her. And when they shouted of danger, she knew there was no danger to her, because I got the impression that this woman's mother and her mother before her had taken the same walk and found something that they needed, or that was going to be needed. You know how dreams are? I would love help in deciphering this one, but anyway, she headed out there ignoring everybody, running, and enjoying her feet had no problem with that. Running nice and steady, tight movement. Got out to the end of this pier thing, and natural pier, and there was a mechanical device, silvers and grays, and and a dial on it. And she picked it up and knew that this was what she'd come to find. And so she turned around, started jogging her way back, and it was a control device, but she or I mean, together in the dream, we had no idea what it was for, but she knew it was important. So dream shifted again, back to the girl, the 15-year-old, and it's like the girl, she was sitting there, just got done telling her sister about the guy's rejection, and the sister, this is the cool part. The sister, she pointed towards the device that was taken from the sea, and said, "That controls time and space. You rescued it from the sea, where it was placed many years ago. You have earned the right to use it. It can make you any age you wish." That's what came out of the dream. And this girl, when her sister handed it to her and showed her how simple it was to use, just the twisting of a dial, the girl just goes, tap, and was 5 years older. And the same age now. Body, same age as the young man that had rejected her. And the joy in her was powerful and potent. She jumped up, hugged her sister, gave her the device, and ran back out into the corridor. The young man had barely gotten down any farther than the next set of windy corridor. That got past. No, if I remember right, he was still in that dark area where there were homes built up in the city in between these open corridors. And she ran, calling out his name. And he turned back and he saw her. And this smile came over him as he waited for her to join him. He threw his arm around her and hugged her tight and gave her a kiss on the cheek. Well, not on the cheek, but right on the temple area. And off they went, with her in between the two men, like they were protecting her, one on either side, as she went off with them. Ta-da! End of the dream. Whoa. These two women aligned. I mean, it's like they were living the same lives, device joining them, but yet they were two separate people. It's not like this was the girl in a younger day, or, I mean, she was 15 here, an adult woman here that looked nothing like this one. But anyway, here's the picture. Let's see if I can show you. Get that light right. I need to adjust pictures around. Here we go. Can you see it? Yeah. I still haven't figured this one out. Me wanting love and family and joy, and I find it in myself and in the children. But this girl, I mean, she didn't even feel like me. Maybe she was another lifetime. Maybe they were other lifetimes of me. Because I firmly believe in reincarnation. Yeah, absolute. It has nothing to do with taking away anything from the Christ. Christ is number one, besides his daddy. Our daddy. But anyway. Let's see. Wow. We're on to 20, going on 21 minutes here. Okay. We gotta be going. I gotta be going. Hey, I'm a Gemini. It'd be interesting to see and get your comments on this one. Because it was definitely fun to dream it. But it was definitely an interesting one. Love you guys. Hugs. Talk at you later. Bye.